Welcome. So exciting. After roughly 2 years of conference abstinence, to be back on track, not really in a full physical way, but I'm very happy to welcome you all here in this hybrid section, in this hybrid session of this session of the ISCM conference 2022. I said hybrid because we are very pleased to have some guests visiting us here in person. We have made a hub here at ETH Zurich in Switzerland with guests coming in from Lausanne, but also from Sweden. So welcome, and from Basel. So welcome everyone here who's physical here in Switzerland. I will show you my colleague Sonja, who's sitting here in the same room with me, who will be co-moderating with me in the second half of it. So welcome everyone, and with this, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Jen, for supporting this. And with this, I hand over to Kristina, who will start with the first part of the session. Thank you very much. Enjoy.
Thank you so much, Omar, for the welcome. And I also would like to welcome you all to this session. I'm going to be the moderator for today's session. And I'm so happy to see you all here, that we have the possibility to discuss this so important topic concerning sustainability reporting. And you also have had a program, and I will just give an overview, and then we will get more closely to the details. But the first hour, we will have presentations from the members of the IEC and Sustainable Reporting Working Group. And we will have 4 speakers, and they will introduce themselves. They have 10 minutes for the presentations. And then the other part number 2, we will have a session with breakout rooms on specific topics. And we are looking forward to this discussion we will have there. And we have also chosen specific topics. I will not go through them now, but you have seen them also in the program on the website for the IECN conference. So I think I will stop there and stop my sharing. So, and then I would like to introduce the first speaker, and that is Carla Madeira, head of the Sustainability Committee. She is from the University of Porto. So the floor is yours, and welcome.
Hi. It's a great honor for me to make this presentation in the ICN conference. As Kristina told, I'm Carla Madeira, and I'm responsible for the Sustainability Committee here at the Faculty of Engineering of the University of Porto in Portugal. The title of my presentation, I think you are seeing my slides, is Field Paths Towards to Sustainability. So I'm going to, first, I will talk a little bit about FIOP. I will make short descriptions, then I will present some figures about FIOP, and then I will tell us the story of FIOP, the path of FIOP towards sustainability, starting in 2006. For me, is the year 0. Then I will present some initiatives concerning the strategy for a more sustainable field. I will give some examples. So for those who are not from, doesn't know Portugal, Porto is, I don't know if you are seeing my Porto is here, is located in the north part of Portugal. And this is the new buildings of the Faculty of Engineering since 2000. I must say that the Faculty of Engineering is the largest faculty of the University of Porto. Now, some figures. It has 8.5 thousand students, about 1.3 of staff. This includes teaching staff, researchers, research fellows, and non-academic staff. About 1/3 is female, and it has 9 departments corresponding to the different fields of engineering. And now I will start the story of the part of FIOP towards sustainability. It starts in 2006 with the sustainability report. And I must say that it was the first Portuguese higher education institution to report sustainability. First, we don't know how to make the sustainability report, and we decide to adapt the Global Reporting Initiative guidelines, and we reported the sustainability with those guidelines. But soon we realized that it wasn't the best way to report sustainability because it doesn't take into account education, research, students, academic staff, and so on. These guidelines were developed for corporation. And we decided to make a study to find out the best way to report sustainability in the higher education institution. This study uses a matrix representation, as you can see here, that crosses the sustainability dimensions such as social, environmental, economic, with the internal dimensions such as governments, academic community, operations, and education, and so on. So by combining the internal dimension with the sustainability dimensions, it is possible to evaluate, to promote, to report sustainability. For each element of the matrix, there is a wide range of indicators, that is, these crossings. It is difficult sometimes to choose, to select the indicators, because it depends on the purpose and on the audience, the target. For instance, if you want to make a sustainability report, you are selecting a small group of indicators. But if you are sustainably managers, you have to choose a broader group of indicators. It depends, as I told before, on the target, on the goal, on the proposal, and on the audience. So I must say that sustainability report was very important for us, and we continue to report according to this methodology that was developed in this study. The sustainability report worked like a catalyst for promoting initiatives because from the diagnosis made on this sustainability report, we have analyzed them and improved our performance related with sustainable development. Now I will present some highlights, a few, because I have no time. And for instance, in 2012, I have to highlight the website FIOP and Sustainability that was developed with the main goal of presenting some sustainability indicators and also to promote best practices and behaviors. Also, you can see there are some initiatives and activities related with sustainability. Then in 2000, this is the site, you may go there on the internet. In 2015, it was created the Sustainability Committee with these missions that you can see in the slide. And I have to highlight another event. In 2019, it was the first conference from the Sustainable Campus Network here in Porto, in Portugal, and FIOP was the host of this conference. It was very important because in this picture, you can see there was 28 leaders of Portuguese higher education institutions that signed a commitment declaration to sustainable development. And it was a moment very important to me, and it's because I have highlighted this moment. In 2020, I have to highlight that FIOP became a member of Portuguese Pact for Plastics. The main goal of this pact is to promote the circularity of plastics. And it is very important for us. This is a new from the newspaper from that time. Now, in 2022, it is an important moment for me. We are only in June, but I have to highlight this project that is Education for Sustainable Development at FIOP. It is a project that has the main goal of providing to provide students with competencies that for including in their daily activities the principles of sustainable development. The ultimate goal is to consolidate the culture of sustainability at FIOP. The project will last for 3 years and is proof of the commitment of the executive board of FIOP, of our school, to sustainable development, because they funded this project. It is very important. Now I'm going to present some initiatives regarding the strategy. I have to say that to set up the strategic plan for sustainability here at FIOP was the first hard task of the Sustainability Committee. This strategic plan is aligned with sustainable goals. I'm going to only present some initiatives. This one is in the scope of the strategic goal of promoting a culture of sustainability in the daily life of the community. We have a contest that is more sustainable ideas. It is addressed for all members of the community and from students to staff. They have to submit in the dedicated platform an idea for improving sustainability at FIOP. Then the best idea is selected by a jury and is considered the more sustainable idea of the year. Then it will be implemented. And the prize for the winner is a bike, a fantastic bike. Now I prepared some pictures that illustrate some joint activities with students, such as to raise their awareness for sustainability, such as in the World Day of Engineer for Sustainable Development, or in the Environmental World Day, or some contests, or some recycling games, or SDG games. Also, we are many activities. Now I will share with you some activities regarding sustainable camps, such as shared printers, some initiatives related with energy, with recycling bins, and some procedures that are accomplished with the information system. And I want to share with you this initiative. This is to promote the use of reusable products. We give to all first-year students, for undergraduate students, a reusable bottle. And also we have in the vending machines a drink. You take your drink without a cup, you take your cup, and the drink is less expensive. So some kind of conclusions. I think higher education must inspire a sustainability culture. FIOP has already implemented several activities contributing for sustainable development, and now some kind of conclusions about reporting. Why it's so important to report diagnosis, assessments, benchmarking, marketing, and engage the stakeholders. For me, it's everything. Thank you for your attention, and my contacts is there on the slide.
Thank you so much for a great presentation, Anna. And I will now introduce the next speaker. That will be Andreas Dionyssiou. He's a coordinator, Environmental Policy Office of Cyprus University of Technology. Welcome.
So hello, everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And I really miss the physical presence of the conferences. Let's hope next year we'll be all together sharing these ideas. So shall I share the screen?
Yes, you can share the screen. The floor is yours.
So sustainability at Cyprus University of Technology. Okay. So as I said before, my name is Andreas and I coordinate the Sustainability Office of Cyprus University of Technology. For those who do not know where Cyprus is the island in the southeast of the Mediterranean. The office was launched in 2010 as the Environmental Policy Office, responsible for the environmental and energy management of the university. Basically, it wasn't even an office back then. On the organizational chart, it mentioned environmental policy, which it didn't make any sense. So we just changed it and converted it to an office and started behaving as one. In 2011, the environmental policy was approved from the board, which was the most important milestone for the sustainability management of the university. Just to let you know, for the sake of this presentation, I will call the Environmental Policy Office a Sustainability Office. Except from the environmental and sustainability management, the Sustainability Office is coordinating the sustainable education, research and development team and the 17th Sustainable Development Goals Committee. It also supporting the academia in respect for sustainability. And is getting closer in developing the environmental social governance plan for the university. The only throwback of this situation is that the office has only one member, which that means cannot deeply develop in any kind of develop action and always has to ask for support. Let's move on. So what does the Sustainability Office do at the university? It has two different paths. The first path is operations and actions. The usual work for good practices, and the other is awareness, communication, policy, strategy, etc. Under the field of operations, the Sustainability Office is managing anything that has to do with energy engineering, recycling, waste management, green public procurement, EMAS coordination. Energy and energy engineering includes procedures, efficiency for new construction, building, or energy management of existing buildings, etc. This is that just because I'm also an energy management engineer. Recycling is which we try to minimize with a number of actions, digitization, combustible, etc., like paper, plastic, tins, and glass, which are collected from a non-profit organization that collects recycling from Limassol city center. Our responsibility is to place it outside the building or to specific bins. Also, all hazardous waste is collected and treated from a licensed hazardous waste management company. Two other major procedures that the office is coordinating are the EMAS certification and green public procurement. For the first, 3 of our main buildings have been certified, and for the green public procurement, all procedures are being consulted from the Sustainability Office towards circular economy. So the second path of the Sustainability Office is about awareness. The most important part of this path is the support of the student sustainability groups. The number of our students at the university is around 3,000. So as you can understand, of those students per year, only around 10 to 15 students are interested in sustainability. So the Sustainability Office always closely supports their actions and initiates and sometimes takes a further step in mentoring them. A very important part of the awareness is for sure the local and global collaborations. With the local collaborations, a number of small projects around campus and areas of Cyprus have been launched. With the global collaborations such as the ISCN is where inspiration takes place. Not a lot of initiatives can be implemented from other universities into our university, but inspiration is actually what we're really looking forward from those collaborations. One of the Sustainability Office goals is to collaborate with other networks for sustainability. Since the Sustainability Office belongs to the technical service, the state management services, some of the project managers needed a different perspective, like being accountable directly to a higher level of command. So with a colleague academic, we decided to promote this kind of model. The proposal was about the creation of a sustainability group below the board, the Sustainable Education, Research and Development Team, in order to manage big-scale sustainability projects, consultation of the board towards a more sustainable future, and climate adaptation. Surprisingly, it was accepted, and some parts of the procedure that the Sustainability Office was working with improved. One of the main advantages of this kind of groups is that academia and operations are collaborating towards a better result. Different perspectives towards a common goal. One of the projects that this group managed to create was the free rental bikes for all the university society. The project was a great success for the time that it was running.
I think this will freeze.
Andreas?
She muted. Yeah, I think we have lost Andreas. Can you see what you think, Jen? Have you some connection with Andreas?
No, he's frozen here too.
Okay, but I think it's important to give him some minutes. We all know this complication using Zoom, so we will just wait and see if he will come back. I hope so. We give him a minute. I think the problem has to be on his side. Yes.
In the meantime, Kristina,
Yes.
maybe you can share with the group how you made it from Stockholm to Zurich.
Yes, I think we have this very nice European hub here in Zürich, and we have so good times together. And I was traveling from Stockholm using the train. So I started on Tuesday in the morning, 7 o'clock. And then I went to Copenhagen, and I was in Copenhagen around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I jumped on the train around 3 o'clock to Hamburg. And then I went from Hamburg around 9 o'clock in the night with the night train to Zürich, and I slept very well. And then I woke up in Zürich, so that was great. And I just had around 30-40 minutes between the train to wait, so I could compete with the situation with the air traffic we have nowadays. So
And could you like spend the time? Like, could you work on the train, or did you only sleep on the train, or did you read a book?
no, I had so much mail because we had last week in Stockholm plus 50, and it was a lot of conferences. I had all this email, so I worked with them, and the connection was great all the time. It works perfectly, and that is very important. So now I had done some good announcement for traveling with train in Europe.
Very cool. Very cool.
Okay, and I can
with
see
this, Andreas is back, yeah?
he's back now.
So sorry for that. I just got offline for no actual reason.
Yeah, but you can share your screen.
Shall I just continue here?
Yeah, of course. We have some time.
Where is it? Just a second. So can you see this?
Yes.
Just a second. Okay. So anyway, so we collaborated with the University of Cyprus, and we managed to get a team in order to develop this kind of project, which is still ongoing. And we, I'm so sorry. I think I'm sharing a wrong screen, or am I?
We are seeing a full screen with a house that looks like a container, shipping container.
Yeah, I have to change the screen, which something is not right here. Yeah. Is it better now?
That's the shipping
Okay,
container.
so sorry for that.
Yeah,
No
we
worries.
see. Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, right after the 2018 ICN conference, we were in the process to adopt the 17 development goals at the university. It was something that we were looking forward to, but it needed a lot of work and approvals from the board. So how do we do that? We heard something about the impact rankings, which was directly involved with the 17 sustainable goals. So we were in a process to analyze that, and by the end of 2019, we managed to collect a lot of data. Basically, we tried to place. We tried to place. So sorry. The impact ranking was something like a benchmark to us, not really to compete with others, but a baseline for our university's development. At early 2020, with arrival with a new rector, things were much easier since we actively supported the alignment with the 17 sustainable goals. The 17 sustainable goals committee is managing the database for the 17 goals, coordinating some actions towards improvement, collaborating with the smaller sustainable development groups, and last but not least, getting ready to draft the sustainability report. Some of those smaller groups are for the development of Sustainable Development Goal 4, the Learning Development Network, and for the SDG 5, the Quality Committee. So what does this committee do? The committee is coordinated by the academic sustainability consultant of the director and the sustainability office. Its members are academics and administration staff with the ability to collaborate with anyone that could support the committee. Its first project was a collection of the data of the impact rankings, and further more the submission. The university needed some kind of a tool fast to create a baseline with data in order to make actions towards the improvement of the quality in the university. The impact ranking was very practical and direct. Data were collected for the 2019, 20, and 21, and submitted for 2020 and 2021. Now the committee is working towards the improvement of a number of issues regarding specific goals. Some small actions that the 17 Sustainable Development Goal Committee had coordinated was the design of a new website for the student affairs from the students to the university. The 17 Sustainable Goals website that has all the 17 goals data and the speed dating with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals event. The last action has been coordinated with the Learning Development Network with a great success. With just a simple brief on what the 17 goals, people started discussing on how to support the university from their position on a specific SDG. The results were collected and further actions will be made. So, sustainability report. One major project that evolved from this huge amount of data collection was the launch of the sustainability report. Even though there are still some thoughts and discussions, if we're going to combine the 17 goals with the GRI standards, that has to be holistic and at the same time comparable sustainability report. For the time being, we're just publishing the data collected for the impact ranking to a simple design website. It's not the best, but at least we are kinda reporting. A group of colleagues has been collaborating, including myself, in order to make this initiative come to life. It has to pass through approval of board since there is no legislation regarding sustainability reporting. In order to save some time and not to bore them with a huge report, we decided to draft a smaller, complete report for the SDG and explain the overall sustainability report will have this kind of layout. And we want to keep things simple, precise and colorful with few words in combination with the 17 goals the GRI stands. The final slide has a kind of, it's a sample of the website that analyzes, for example, the Sustainable Development Goal #1. So sorry for the mix-up for this presentation. Thank you very much. And so the floor is to the next speaker.
Thank you so much, Andreas. It's very interesting, and we will discuss this further on in our groups. I would like to leave the floor to Anna Bailund. She's a sustainability coordinator at KTH Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm, Sweden. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Kristina. I'm just going to share my screen with you. Yes, my name is Anna Berglund, and I work as a sustainability coordinator at KTH Royal Institute of Technology in Sweden. And I am going to talk about how we report on sustainability at the KTH. So KTH is Sweden's oldest and largest technical university. We have approximately 40,000 full-time students, 1,700 active research students, and more than 500 employees. So the foundation of our environmental and sustainability work is our environmental management system, according to the Swedish Environmental Management Ordinance. And we have chosen to certify the system according to the international standard ISO 14001. So based on our environmental review and the UN Global Goals, we have decided on 6 university-wide sustainability objectives. And the target areas for these objectives are education, research, and collaboration, organization and working methods, resource management, which includes travel and transport, procurement and waste management, sustainable buildings, food and food service, biodiversity and ecosystem service, and also climate. So these areas, plus the UN Global Goals, are the areas that we also follow up on and report on. And we don't have one sustainability report, but several reports based on different stakeholders. So we have 2 external stakeholders that we report to. And the first is the Swedish Environmental Protection Agency, and we report to them according to legislation. And what we report is fulfillment of our sustainability objectives and actions taken. We report indicators for traveling and transportations, energy use, and environmental requirements in procurement. We also do an annual report to the government. And the higher education education institutions in Sweden must report on how relevant part of the work of promoting sustainable development have been linked to the environmental management work, and how the university intends to work in the coming years to take further steps. Then we also have some internal stakeholders we report to. Twice a year we report to the university board, and we report our sustainability goals and actions, what we have done in the past year. We also have a management review, that it's not a report, more like a meeting where we discuss how the organization can contribute to fulfill the sustainability goals. We have set the climate goals, and therefore we are also reporting our carbon footprints. And we do that according to the greenhouse gas protocol scope 1, 2, and 3. And our goal is that KTH is climate neutral in 2045. We also do a report on all the UN global goals, and then we report what we do in education, research, and operations that contributes to those goals. We are taking part in some rankings. We're taking part in US World University Ranking. We take part in Times Higher Education Impact Ranking, and we're ranked in 8 goals. And the KTH was ranked on 22nd place this year. We are also taking part in the Climate Action Ranking, which is an initiative from the Swedish National Climate Students. And this year we were ranked #1 of the universities in Sweden. So that's of course something we are really proud of. Okay, so this is our reporting process in general. The process starts with an assignment from the management, and then we start to collect data and information. We use internal sources to collect data, like our human resource department, the IT department, the sustainability office, and so on. And we also collect data from our external sources, like our property owners, our waste contractors, and the travel agency. Then we do a report, and then we publish the result, and we publish everything on our website. So it's open for everyone to take part of. Important with this reporting is also to do an analysis and suggestion for improvements, of course. What we think is the most important benefit with our reporting is that because we are measuring impacts, we can take actions and know where to focus. So it helps us a lot. Our reportings also do that we are transparent. All the data we have collected at the sustainability office we share, and that's appreciated in the organization. We have improved our relationships to our stakeholders. For instance, our property owners, where we now have common goals to follow up on. We know that rankings are something that our students look at, and then they are choosing a university. So if we do well in rankings, we can attract students and also attract researchers. So it strengthens our brand as a leading technical university. Of course, we have some areas for improvement. It takes time to collect the data and information and calculate on the indicators. So we are improving the process a little bit every year to make it smoother. We also do some improvement of the quality of data every year. All the data is not perfect. For instance, we had to improve our data for energy use still. Then we also would like to collect sustainability data for some indicators, traveling, for instance, on an ongoing basis. Now we're doing it yearly, but if we will be able to take actions in an earlier stage, we need to follow up on the data more often. So thank you for your attention, and I'm looking forward to hear from your experience from sustainability reporting in the breakout session later on this day. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna, for this excellent presentation from KTH. And now I would like to leave the floor to Omar, and he will present the work they are doing at ETH Zürich, and he's working at ETH Sustainability Office of the President.
Thank you, Kristina. Thank you for the moderation. Thank you everyone for joining. And I'm very excited to share with you some of our experiences when it comes to sustainability reporting here at ETH Zürich in Switzerland. I called the presentation From Niche to Backbone, and you will, over the course of the presentation, understand why I framed it as such. But first, I want to give you a bit of an insight. Here we go, at our overall approach to sustainability at ETH. It's not that sustainability is a new thing for us, but you could really say that it's part of the DNA of the institution. So for a long, long time, questions related to energy, related to climate change, related to energy and nutrition, for example, would be part of the research agenda. And then as the first institution as the first university in Europe, it was ETH Zürich to found the Department for Environmental Systems Science a bit more than 30 years ago. Our approach is comprehensive and holistic in a way that we look at 4 fields of action, one being research, that is trying to make research at the interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary level possible by installing research in competence centers, for example. In the field of action of education, we try our best to really make sure that sustainability knowledge enters the curriculum of the respective degree programs on campus. We try our best to make decisions on the basis of the principles of sustainable development, including all 3 dimensions: economic, social, and environmental. And lastly, in the campus, in the dialogue field of action, as a publicly funded institution, we try to make sure that the knowledge that we produce is also serving society and those who ultimately make this possible by paying their taxes. Now, if you want to look at reporting over the course of the last 20 years, you can see a very interesting development. We started indeed, and that was way before my time, in 2002, with a niche report on energy aspects, which in 2002 was published for the first time, and then had 2.5 editions. In 2004, this merged into a bit more comprehensive energy and environment, and then into an environmental report, which would also cover aspects such as emissions and waste and paper consumption, for example. And then the transition happened in 2009, 2010, when ETH Zürich published its first sustainability report, which is has a very comprehensive perspective on sustainability related questions. And what you see here towards the end, the 3, that goes to show that our report, while it started off as a niche report, energy, has come to a level that it was published jointly together with the institution's annual report. All of these reports here in orange, all the 6 sustainability reports, have been published in accordance to the Global Reporting Initiative, the ICN Campus Sustainable Development Charter, and the last 2 were also using the SDGs for labeling or for orienting the reporting itself. Now, one thing is that we learned over the years is that, or I would say it's even the secret of our success, is that we focus on the process of reporting, not only on the product. It's not that we want to really work to get one product done, but we really use a multi-stakeholder process with a lot of people. For every edition, we have roughly 70 people from the community, internal and external stakeholders that contribute with images, texts, quotes, reviews, and so on and so forth. And that excellently fosters discussion, awareness, visibility, and commitment of sustainability at the institution. So one thing we do that's very important is we do stakeholder interviews. What you see on the right-hand side is our sustainability materiality matrix. Is based on the interviews, we actually rank the topics that people from inside and outside of ETH find very important. And then those that end up being on the top right get more attention in the reporting because they are understood as relevant from internal and external perspective. And one quote that I found very telling along the process is one stakeholder said, "Oh, I thought sustainability was only about environmental issues." And we said, no, it's also about participation, it's also about diversity. So we kind of try to transform the mindsets in the institution by means of stakeholder interviews. And we also did this during the COVID pandemic. Like we're doing right now, we did interviews with relevant stakeholder representatives. Here with Marie-Noëlle, which you could say she doesn't like the comparison, but you could say she's the Greta Thunberg of Switzerland. And we actually asked her about her opinion on ETH Zürich's sustainability strategy. One other reason for the success, and non-secret, I might say, is really appreciating people. We might tend to forget with all the medals and awards and all the research funding grants that our professors get for ETH, that there are so many other people who are very critical to the success of the institutions. People working in staff, people working in facility management, trainees, but also external stakeholders that are super relevant, like alumni or politicians. So we try by means of the reporting to showcase what they do, showcase their voice, and also in the last one on the right-hand side, we actually ask the stakeholders to say something about a specific SDG. We would have Anna Knör on the right-hand side, who was at that time the president of the Student Sustainability Commission, to give an opinion on SDG 13, which is climate action, or Martin Sonnefeld, who is the executive director of the World Food System Center at ETH, SDG number 2, which is no hunger. So we really try to appreciate people who do a lot of good work for sustainability in the institution. That really helps to transform the institution. Now, this is what happened lately. I mentioned to you that we were publishing the annual report together, the sustainability report together with the annual report, but also a very important report is the equality monitoring. That's the one, that's the 3 reports that just appeared on the bottom. And then someone raised the legitimate question, is that really a meaningful reporting practice? Why is that question relevant? Because we would actually, in the process of review, for example, we would ask the same people in the institution to review a specific chapter of the report. One time for sustainability, and 2 weeks later for the annual report, or earlier, and then a couple of months later for the gender monitoring and equality monitoring report. And that is, as you might think, and it's obvious, it's somewhat of an inefficient process. So what we did is last year, we made a very comprehensive evaluation of these 3 reports together, and we looked at industry, we invited experts from various sectors for a panel. We made a survey among Swiss universities. We compared with other universities worldwide, and this is the feedbacks we got. Some people said, hey, and that's primarily people from inside, that we need to better align our reporting processes. As I just said, there's review processes, there's data collection procedures that have to be aligned to really increase efficiency. And then looking at our report, the sustainability report, people understood, hey, the SDGs are actually quite interesting. Why don't we use them also for the annual report? Another feedback is we have a sustainability reporting, that we have goals in the report that we actually try to prepare and that we report the status of. And that was also something that was highly appreciated by the external expert panel. I mentioned three that we put people first, and those who reviewed these three reports said, hey, the way that the sustainability report has been putting people first is actually just the right thing to do. And since I mentioned at the beginning, sustainability is a strategic theme, there was an argument also to make this gain more visibility. And ultimately, what we came up with is we need integrated thinking for diversity and sustainability. So you see, by having approached the sustainability topic over the reporting over the course of 20 years, from a niche report of energy reporting to environmental reporting, to sustainability reporting, this evaluation of last year brought us to the conclusion that we should be working in an integrated reporting way. That's something that's currently underway. We are working to integrate these three topics, and that will cause some friction because you might know the saying, never change a running system. We are actually changing the system quite a bit. So we need to make sure that this everyone who's involved gets his or her share in the process, and we've been very broadly consolidating the opinions and the experiences. So this is where we're heading. I can't say much more on this right now. We're working on a new concept, we're optimizing the processes, we're optimizing data collection, and in spring of 2023, it is in roughly 9 months' time, we will hopefully be able to present the new integrated reporting, which will have sustainability and diversity, not only as a chapter, but really as an integral part of the reporting. This is so far from my side. I would like to use the last 5 minutes to make a little announcement on a survey that we in the working group have been preparing. And first, what happened so far in 2020, Kristina and Alexander from EPFL and others in a working group of roughly 20 people, they made this survey that some of you might have been, that some of you might be familiar with because they probably reached out to you to participate in this. It was a survey on the Times Higher Education Impact Ranking. We saw in Andreas' presentation that they participated in this, but not everyone was as courageous and willing, but also had the resources really to contribute to this rating. So this survey that they did in 2020 was really helpful to understand how do universities feel about this this new ranking that THE came up with. And now we're working on a second survey that's gonna be published eventually in the next couple of weeks and months. And what we want to focus on is really the sustainability reporting at universities. And the aim of this survey is actually twofold. The first one being we want to provide an overview of universities worldwide of how they prioritize sustainability. That's one part of the survey. And the other one is we want to really increase awareness among universities worldwide of how they practice sustainability reporting, and then also shed some light and see what opportunities and potential impacts are associated with sustainability reporting. So this is going to be very exciting. We're still working on the survey. It will take some time, some fine tuning, but if you feel if you would be interested in actually joining the working group, just reach out to me or to Kristina. We can see how we can integrate you. That would be amazing. And also to, once it's done, really to maybe test it and then really to roll it out to as many institutions as possible. So we would be very happy, not only if you would contribute, if you want, to the design and the testing, but also really doing the rollout and using Uncle Sam, which is a bit weird, I have to say, we want to invite you to participate in the survey once it's done and really spread the word about the survey so we can get as many responses as possible to make the best out of this exercise. And with this, I thank you very much. I think we're just in time for the second part. I hand over to you, Kristina. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Omar. It was very interesting, and you have two great presentations and the invitation. I feel that everyone now will contribute because it was so interesting. And I think that is important that we are trying to work with the next steps. What have we as university for responsibility to decide and influence what we should report? We have these different kinds of rankings, we have requirements from governments and so on, but still we are the experts, and I think we should be the drivers more than we are today. So thank you so much. And just a short summary from the presentation. I think it's very interesting to see how we have developed from environmental reports mostly to sustainability reporting. And that is really a change, and it's also then more complex to report. We understand that we need to have an holistic approach. You have all described that. We have the faculty and we have the administration, and we need to work together to strengthen the work we are doing. And we also need to take action. We don't have time. We need really to work together. And then I think the success stories that you are sharing, all the great project, and also how you involve people in this work. Now it's not longer an issue how many we involve. It takes too much time. It's instead how do we involve our staff in this important work that is about the change and transformation we need to do internally in our organization. I think that is where all starts. So that was my thinking when I saw this presentation, and I now think it's time to leave the floor to Sonja, and we will have the next part with the breakout session, and we are looking forward to have this discussion together with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Kristina. Hello, everybody. I am Sonja Moghaddari, working here for the EPFL. And together with Omar, we are moderating the second part of this session. And let me just share my screen. So in this second part, we have our approach is a very much more interactive approach. Our plan here. Yeah, now it works. Our plan is, so first we will just do a short introduction of what's the plan, as I already started. And then you will have time, 25 minutes time to go into breakout rooms that we are proposing to you on specific topics. And you will be able to really exchange with each other and have a lively discussion about topics that are of interest to your specific institution. After that, we will come back into the plenum, like our main Zoom room in which we are right now. And we will, Omar and I will ask some spot-on questions on the takeaways that you have from your individual discussions in the different rooms. After that discussion, I will hand the word back to Kristina for the next step and the summary. Just to introduce you now, the breakout rooms. So I think Jen already, did you already post the link of the Miro into the chat? Here you are. So you should all, if you open the discussion in this of the Zoom of this Zoom session, you will all find a link, a Miro link. I invite you to click on the link, but just after I presented to you the topics of the room. Sorry, I got a little bit ahead of myself. So the breakout rooms that we propose are four. The first room is proposed by Jacopo Grazioli, my colleague from the EPFL, who is head of the sustainability education unit, and and the room will discuss how to report on sustainability education. The second breakout room is about reporting on waste, energy, and water consumption, and it is moderated by Paul Cross here from the ETH Zürich, and Andreas Dionyssiou. Sorry, Andreas, if I didn't pronounce it perfectly, but you already just saw him. He's from the Cyprus University of Technology. And then we have the third room, which is proposed by Kristina, who you already know, and Anna from the KTH. They suggest to discuss about the process of reporting, in particular, what to report, how to collect data, who are our stakeholders, and how to integrate SDGs. And fourth, the fourth Zoom room, the breakout room, will be proposed by Anna Madeira, who you already also met from the University of Porto, and Tobias Michl, who is from the Technical University of Munich. And they will propose to exchange about how to report on universities' climate footprint, so directly the emissions of the campuses themselves. Okay, so now I invite you to open the Miro link. And I will just give 2 or 3 indications about how to use Miro, especially for those who are not yet very familiar with this, this tool. So once you have the Miro open, then you will go into, sorry, once I finished presenting the process, you will be able to choose a Zoom room, okay, in the Zoom itself, a breakout room. So you click on the breakout room topic that is interesting to you, and while Zoom moves you into the new room, into a smaller group, then you can open the Miro and zoom into the frame that is corresponds to your Zoom room. So step 1, zoom into the frame that corresponds to your breakout room. Okay, then you will be able, you will start the discussion. The moderators will start to talk about the topics that are interesting to you. And in order to trace your thoughts, we invite you to write on the Miro. And to do so, you can on the left-hand side, number 2, you see to document your thoughts, first choose your post-it. So on the left-hand side of your screen, of the Miro screen, you will see here a number of post-its. So you can choose different shapes of post-its, different colors, or just text, and you can just go ahead with that. Then once you clicked on the post-it, it will appear, and you will be able to, by clicking on the post-it, move it on towards the frame and to the position that is that corresponds to the train of thoughts that you want to document. So that's basically for the discussion. And once you finish discussing, at the end of the 25 minutes, you will be able to leave your email address on the lower left-hand side of the frame, where you see for topic number 4, leave your email address here if you want to stay in touch, because the aim of this interactive part is to open up an exchange that might continue as thematic benchmarking groups in the future. For example, you might find the exchange so interesting that you decide to schedule a meeting in the fall, for example, on the topic that you all share interest in. Okay, I hope that's clear for everybody. And If it's not clear, I invite you to write into the chat. We can also help you out if you write a question into the chat. And on this, I will just open the Zoom rooms, the breakout rooms. And I invite you to choose the room so according to the topic that is most interesting for you right now to discuss.
If you scroll down a little bit, that might make things easier. You will have to scroll down and then see the individual rooms, and then you can click on the blue button, which in English says join, and that will hopefully make things possible for you.
Exactly. So it's like manually you choose the room that fits your interest. So
Okay.
please, yeah.
I can see Claudette says she wants to join number 4. I think I can do this manual. That's climate footprint. Voila. If anyone else has a problem of choosing okay, she's not seeing the join. How do we fix that? Can you reopen them, Sonja, somehow?
It's good. She's in now.
Okay, yeah, I assigned her to that room. Is anyone else having problems joining the individual rooms? I mean, worst case, we just do a random assignment, and then everyone ends up in one room. At the moment, only half of the participants have actually joined the room. Of those that are still here, I think it's slowly working. People are getting their way around. Yeah, that's excellent. Okay, I see people are good. We will call you back in a couple of, like, roughly 25 minutes. I can see that it seems to be working now. Not everyone can hear me anymore because I'm moving to different rooms.
And I will stay in this main room for to help people if they want to, but I think not everyone will go in a room. So
okay, that's okay. That's fine.
Bye.
It's fine. Okay. Cool. Welcome back to this to the plenary. Sonja and we had the pleasure of hovering over the board, which we had on the screen during your breakout sessions. And we can still see that there's a bunch of cursors flying around. So I can imagine people are very excited to contribute to this discussion, which is excellent. You might have also sneaked into the other boards to see what's happening on the other boards. But first things first, we want to now invite the co-moderators of the individual breakout rooms to share a bit. We want to ask them a few questions. I want to start with Jacopo, who was in breakout room number 1. Jacopo, sustainability education, reporting on this, that is a big debate among very many institutions. Have you managed to discuss a bit about if there's potentially a best practice out there, or has anyone in your breakout session maybe shared something where you thought, wow, this is amazing?
Not yet, but some useful hints. It's certainly a topic not yet, I would say, standardized. We all acknowledge it's important to think about sustainability education and report it. Although there are a number of challenges. First of all, it's already at the course level, it's hard to flag a course as a sustainability, let's say, covering course, sustainability-oriented course. There is a large degree of subjectivity to do it. So we see the interest of finding techniques to do it automatically, automatic parsing of for example, of course material or course description. And here then will be very important that we all agree on the foundation basics. So, for example, which keywords we are looking for, or which Wikipedia concepts we are looking for. So then, let's say there is a need to standardize this largely still qualitative interpretation.
Yeah, I mean, like we saw one of, sorry if I interrupted, but we saw the word artificial intelligence. Was that a typo, or did you really?
No. It was really meant this way. Was brought up by Tatiana in the discussion group, and it's really to answer to that. I mean, we are in a situation where most of university went through at least once to parse manually all the courses, and all the university realized that this is not viable to do it, and so it's not a typo. I mean, there is a real interest to find the automatic way of text parsing and keyword recognition to track in the end our progresses in this respect through the years.
Cool, thank you.
Now let's move to there are lots of things that we could discuss, just in order to give everybody every group a little bit the chance of summing up their discussion. I mean, again, I hope that you will continue the debate among yourself in the future. But Paul and Andreas, in your group on waste and energy, what is so the campus is a city in the city, and it has to rely on existing waste management realities. So what are the biggest challenges that you could identify there? We saw that there were some comments related to that on this wonderful map. So
yes,
could you say something?
Sure, Andreas, do you want to take it away?
Yep, it's fine. So it seems like from this breakout session, it's an issue. The main issue for reporting is not exactly water or energy. It seems like they're quite decent, the strategic or the collective method somehow. The most difficult thing, and everybody expressed their concerns, is about waste, which has to do with recycling, ICT waste, general waste, etc. We discussed a lot about waste, how are being measured in our universities. For example, in Cyprus University of Technology, which is around 40 buildings around the Limassol city center, it's an issue on how to measure recycling and rest of the waste. We do have we use example sample measurement around some buildings, some weeks per year. And we discussed also with Karina, and especially for ICT waste, and how are we measuring this kind of waste, and what is actually the issue behind, and why is it important to measure this kind of waste? At Cyprus University of Technology, we do have a central committee for the removal of this kind of waste. So we do have a database. It's a central committee with a database, so we know everything that is living from the university. Our main concern is generally waste. Waste is keep rising, even if we are trying to low down our expectations, and we have to start thinking about what are our actual needs. And let's start from our universities. What are our needs for our everyday work environment, our support, our anything that has to do with using things around?
Yeah, Well, thank you very much, Andreas, and I think you've covered all of the main points. Basically, coming back to the city and the city analogy, it is that there are so many different parties involved in gathering the data and even trying to align it, that it's challenging. There doesn't appear to be, for at least from our group, any single perfect system, and we're still doing a lot of annual processes, a lot of sampling based on snapshots, and that's something that we'll just need to work on over the next few years and try and improve as a community. I think how we do that, building up standards, but also building up awareness and, say, standardized concepts within institutions on how we want to measure across up and down the institutions across the different types of waste. One nice example that came up from Uni Basel just around the topic of waste in general was that a few years ago, to raise awareness full stop about the issue, they had some students who in individual labs or different parts of their daily lives would collect all of the waste generated in their operations for a week or so and then display it and talk about it. Something else that I found was very good was that Andreas mentioned within Cyprus University of Technology, they gather a lot of information, a lot of documentation about sustainability waste in general, and they make it available to the whole, say, school community in the form of a document store so that you can go in there and just really see what the current status is. And, you know, ideally putting some sort of dashboard, some sort of self-service analytics on top of that would allow any stakeholder, either internal or eventually external, to just really get a feel for what is happening. But that would be a long-term goal for most of us, I think.
There are also sometimes limitations that are connected to the national framework, right? For example, in Switzerland, there are some things that do not get recycled, for example, like some certain kinds of plastic, for example.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Our margin of maneuver is limited also by that.
Yeah, cool. Thank you very much. This was very interesting to get a feeling of how waste is treated in different places, be it on an island or be it on the mainland. Thank you very much for sharing this. Let's move on to the third room, which Kristina and Anna from KTH co-moderated. One post-it that really caught our attention, and I hope it's still on the Michl anymore. It's the thing about trust. You mentioned the word trust. What exactly does that mean?
We can hear it.
We can't hear you so well, Omar. It's hacking.
Okay, then maybe is it better now?
Yes, okay, it's better now.
Basically, if I speak loud enough, you should be able to hear me through the wall, because we're basically
yeah, we are close. You can come into me.
No, but let me quickly repeat. So we saw one of the post-its on your Michl frame, which was about trust, and we were curious why you mentioned the word trust when it comes to a reporting process. Could you elaborate on that briefly?
Yes, I think we were persons in the group. Maybe the one who has written this could also come and join us in this discussion. Please feel free. You who wrote this, yeah.
But do you know who wrote it, so we can ask this person right away?
I think it was Janina, right?
Yeah, Janina.
Janina from Berlin.
Yeah, I did not write this, so I don't know what to say now. So I'm sorry.
Okay, never mind. But maybe Kristina or
yeah, I think we have this discussion because it is so important that you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can see that. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but did you want to come in on that?
Yeah, I could comment because I remember we had this discussion, and it's about transparency and also about trust. And I think that is so important that when you collect data, you also trust the information you have. That is very important. We discussed that also, and we talked a lot about the process and also the stakeholders that we need to identify. And I think we had a discussion and asked each other also how we are doing this reporting process, and we have different perspective, but in some way we are reporting on some common topics like education, and we need to report on research and other things also. So I think we have a very good discussion. We wanted to discuss more. We have a lot of questions that we wanted to discuss, but we didn't have the time. But I think the most meaningful was that we send our email address and we will continue these discussions. And feel free, Anna and Janina and the other one who took part in this session, if you would like to add something.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, it's Hime. I'm sorry. It was me who wrote that post. So we did briefly touch base on that post regarding not only our data review and data collection process, but also how important it is to have the points of contact to validate that information. So we shared a common strategy of having a very large spreadsheet with lots of points of contact with whom we could validate all the data that we gathered and report back to the different stakeholders. So it's mostly about that.
Cool,
Thank you.
Where are you based, if I may ask, Hime?
I am at the University of Pennsylvania.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Thanks.
And I also dropped my email address on the breakout room number 1 because I'm very interested in that too. So thank you.
That's a good reminder for everyone. I mean, you've seen that at the Miro board, you can leave a post-it with your email address. It doesn't have to be necessarily on your breakout session, but please hover around Miro, add your name, add your email address to the respective session that you would like to continue the discussion on, and we'll be happy to follow up on this. But now over to you, Sonja, for the next group.
Okay, so we have our fourth group was the one that was reporting on the climate footprint of university campuses. Anna and Tobias were our moderators. So what came out of your discussion? What are the main limits and opportunities in comparing between the climate footprint of different universities? Very specific.
Tobias, can you can answer? You was the one with mine.
Yeah, well, the main. Sorry, I didn't really capture the question in the end. Sorry, Sonja.
So, what are the main limitations and opportunities for comparing the climate footprint of different universities?
Okay. Well, the limitations is that there's no worldwide standardized methodology that is specifically for universities that can be used. So there is something like the greenhouse gas protocol with its three scopes, which sets the framework. Yet, so far, each and every university has to develop their own reporting standard within this framework. So that makes it very difficult to compare. There's, for those who are familiar with the greenhouse gas protocol, there's the scope 1 and 2 emissions, which are the direct emissions. So for example, from your own power plants that you have on campus, or from the scope 2 from the electricity that you buy. This is rather easy, but when it comes to all the other emissions related to transport, relating to procurement, etc., then it gets very difficult, and there's no standards, and that makes it very hard. However, there are efforts to develop some standards, at least on regional levels, and that can be helpful.
Yeah. So it can be helpful yet to compare. There are opportunities too, not just limitations, right, Tobias?
Well, yes, of course there's opportunities, because the opportunities are, if you compare to other universities and you have valid data to actually do this, then it can be a great motivation to improve your greenhouse gas balance for your own university.
And to design policies in order and measures in order to reduce your carbon footprints. I think it's very important to know the emissions in order to the impact of that emissions, and then you can design policies and implement measures to reduce those emissions of CO2.
Cool, thanks. Kristina, how about the time? We still have a moment, or would you like to wrap up? You're still on mute. I can hear you, but only through the wall.
Yeah, I will break down the wall now. We have 3 minutes left.
Okay,
yeah, before I will summarize.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, so I don't think it would be fair to jump into individual. Well, let's make it this way. Let me quickly, for a little flashlight, can each of the moderators and co-moderators maybe just share what was the most surprising thing that you learned in these 25 minutes? Just in 2 sentences maybe to wrap this up. And if I may, Jacopo, what surprised you most in the discussion?
What surprised me most? So from my side, the lack of, let's say, recognized standards on sustainability education. So it makes me realize that we are really at the beginning of this process.
Okay, that's interesting. And interesting to hear that. That apparently there's many other open questions when it comes to that, not only the ones that we have here, but so I think this is excellent to take this forward.
And also the interest of benchmarking.
Yes. Yeah. Cool. How about Paul and Andreas? What's your biggest like surprise of the discussions?
So from my perspective, is the most important thing is the proper data collection. Is it's not clear how and how to collect the data. And I think the other thing is we're concerned a lot about the increase of waste in general. These are the 2 main things, I think.
And
Paul,
from my
have
side,
I missed anything?
I think the learning for me at a meta level is just that even with 10 or 15 minutes discussion with new people, new colleagues, you can just get so many ideas. That's really valuable. For the next point, it's that we really do need standards around all types of reporting, and nobody's going to provide them for us. We need to work together to produce them.
Cool. And KTH team duo, Kristina and Anna, what's your main takeaway from this breakout session?
Well, my takeaway is that we are really sharing the same challenges when it comes to the reporting process, like how to have an effective process, how to be transparent with our data and collecting data and so on. So it's really good that we can share experience with each other because we are facing the same challenges.
And I would just agree with Anna, and I think it's interesting also to see that this is spread also in other organizations at universities, in the networks with universities. They also need to report maybe together, and how should that then be like? So, yeah.
Cool. And last but not least, Porto Munich connection. What is your main takeaway from the session, Anna and Tobias? Anna, you're muted. Yeah, still muted.
From my point of view, it would be very interesting, and there is a need of standard methodology for estimating greenhouse gas emissions from higher education institutions to make benchmark. And Tobias, I think you have something like that in German to share with us. And I think it will be very interesting, the case of Tobias, of the universities in Germany.
Well, yeah, that's the same for me. Not very surprising that we need standards that we can comply to all together. Bavarian universities in Germany are currently working on something like that together. So maybe that can be something to draw upon. Another very important conclusion that I can draw from this discussion is the same as Paul said, this peer-to-peer learning that we probably started off here is something really crucial, because we're all in the same spot, probably at different stages, so we can learn from each other, and we should learn from each other, especially also from the mistakes.
That's very, very good to hear that really everybody seems to have drawn something from even such a short exchange. And with that, we're seeing ourselves here. And with that, I will lead over to. Do you see my screen? No, not the right one. This one. So with this, I will just lead over to Kristina, back to Kristina, who will wrap up this session, the whole panel. And for my part, already many thanks for everybody who has participated in the breakout groups and in this more interactive part. We are very happy if discussions continue in the future, and also joining.
Yes, and I would like to thank you, Sonja and Omar, for a great moderating this session. It could be sometimes very complicated, but you have done it excellent. And I think I will run over time with 3 minutes because we started a little bit late also. But you have already summarized it well. I think the most important thing we have learned is that we need to exchange experience, and we are on different stage, and we can support each other as higher institutions. And I think also that concerning education, we have a lot to share, and also how we can formulate some kind of standards. I have also a lesson learned that you can't not standardize everything. We are talking about interdisciplinary courses and so on, and that is so different for different teachers and so on. So it's more if you have a problem, how can you come together with different competences and have a solution on that? So I think it's also very important to not standardize, of course, everything, but you need to have both, but it's a balance. And then we also talked about the waste, and I'm also very concerned about the waste because we are also working with circular economy, and this is a way to handle the waste in a new dimension. And how should we measure how we integrate and how we are working with circular economy? We need to work a lot to minimize the consumption, and then we measure, of course, how much waste. That is the bad side of our consumption pattern. But that is something that we need to develop, and it's a lot of regulations coming on in EU and in Sweden on national levels, because we can see that this is a biggest problem, and it's also showing how much we consume, and we need to change that. And then one way could be to improve thinking about circular economy in our organization. And then we also have the process, and I think that is also so important to discuss how we organize the work, from how we have our sustainability office, how they are supporting the process, but also how we are reaching out to the experts in our organization who have the information. How can we do that smoothly? And what does it mean? And then, of course, we can have some support if we have more standardized way of working, what kind of indicators that we are using. We have not touched that so much yet. And then the climate footprint, I think that is important for all of us. And there is also the lack of a common methodology, even if you use greenhouse gas protocol and other standards, it's still very important what it means for universities and how we can focus. And we also had a discussion that it's very interesting to see in the future if we really can reach zero climate targets in the future. So that is something that we also need to figure out. So we have so much to do together. We need then to continue this important work, because the only way to learn is to sharing experience from each other. And then also we have a better understanding if we would like to develop standards together. And this is the first step. So I would like to thank all of you, the audience, the speakers, the moderators, for this really efficient 2 hours how we have used them. And we know also that we need to speed up. We don't have time. So I think this a more practical way of meeting and discussing is the way forward. So the next meeting for the thematic benchmarking groups would be that we contact each other, and we will also send out, of course, in the EC network to invite others that not could attend this session today. And then we have our IC and Sustainable Reporting Working Group, and we will have a meeting in September. We will have some holiday before we start again, and then we will invite you all also to take part in this reporting working group. And we have this excellent presentation from Omar that we want to have a knowledge about the status, and that's why we would like to do this survey. And that survey will also be something that will connect maybe how we can develop standards. That is also a first step for that. And then we will have the next IEC conference next year. And between that, I hope we will have a lot of good meetings in small groups or big groups for discussing how we can move this forward. And then also that we will then have other interesting things to discuss, and maybe then suggest standardized way of working, what we have learned from the survey, what we have learned during the year in our thematic benchmarking groups. So with that, I will end the session. I think I have used my time now, and thank you all for contribution. It's so important.